Guys, we really need to talk about the Switch 2. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So yesterday, the Switch 2 Direct happened. Nintendo dropped it and we have a lot to talk about. First things first, we'll get to the elephant in the room. We'll get to the controversy down the road cuz there's a lot to talk about with that. But first of all, we're going to talk about my expectations, what games were announced that that I like, that I'm excited for, what I wish they would have shown, questions I might still have, and then we'll get to the my thoughts on the controversy. So first things first, the system itself. I personally was expecting at most 4K 30. I do know that some people thought 4K 60. I've heard 1440 60. I mean, Nintendo's never been known to really push the technical boundaries. I believe the last game that might have done that might have been the GameCube, where it was kind of or of a similar power level to 360. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure I've heard from people that the GameCube was the biggest, was their latest one that where they tried to push like the visual boundaries and kind of make it like their competition. So I was mostly expecting at best 4K 30. 4K 60 was my dream. And Nintendo kind of blew me away, to be completely honest. The system in docked mode is 4K 60 and it uses HDR. It has HDR support. They didn't announce this during the direct, but it came out later on that they do use NVIDIA DLSS. I guess the graphics card, the GPU is a NVIDIA custom chip or a custom graphics card. Chip's probably not the right word, but you get what I'm saying. So yeah, 4K 60, Metroid Prime 4, which we'll talk about in a little while. Phenomenal, looks insane on Switch 2 from what we could tell, and it was a live stream, so of course it's not going to be as good as seeing it in person. Now, the handheld is what surprised me even more. So, because not only does it, I thought 1080p at most, I don't know, 60 frames per second. I think 1080p 60 frames in handheld would have been really nice. It's 1080p 120 with HDR support. That's a beast of a handheld too. I mean, this system is, to me, Nintendo's, they're throwing haymakers here. They're like, hey, you know what? You guys wanted a stronger Switch. You're getting a much stronger Switch. Now, I don't know how true this is, but I've heard today that Nvidia came out with a statement saying the Switch 2 is about 10 times more, or more 10 times as powerful as the Switch. Now, the Switch is outdated software. I get that, or hardware. I get that, and yeah, the Switch at most was 1080p. I mean, there's a handful of games that run it at 60, like Bayonetta 3, Bayonetta 2, Bayonetta 1, those games, because they're awesome and we love Platinum games. But there's a handful of games that ran 1080p 60. But for the most part, it was very much locked to a 30 FPS console. And this is 10 times more powerful. Okay, it's not PlayStation 5 level, it's not Series X level, but it's probably PlayStation 4 series, between PlayStation 4 and Series S, if I had to guess. And I'm not Digital Foundry. I don't, I watch them, I understand it, but I'm not the, I'm not, don't quote me on this, I'm not the tech genius. You know, I have a normal job outside of this. So I'm not that, but yeah, anyways, I was very impressed by the specs. It's everything I dreamed. Like my dream coming in here was I wanted 4K 60, 1080p 60, and I got 4K 60 and 1080p 120. I can't complain. Now, some people would be like, they're just not interested in Nintendo because they're like, oh, it's too much of a kid company or family company. I get that. That's, totally fine. You're free to have your own opinion. Um, but as you can see now, they're photo mode, huge VGP man right here. You know what? So I'm super excited. Mario Kart. But now that we're out of this is a good segue. Let's talk about the games. And the games that I'm enjoying and I'm gonna enjoy, and it blew my mind. Mario Kart World. I love Mario Kart. Love and Mario Kart 64, Double Dash, Mario Kart 8. You can't go wrong with Mario Kart in my eyes. And Mario Kart World feels like the next giant leap forward for the series. It's like an open world giant map. There's free roam mode, so you could drive around the map. You could off road it. You could see. I mean, they showed today at the treehouse. They showed little Yoshis and Toads walking around cities and the sidewalks. Um, so yeah, it feels like it's just a giant world, and you're dropped into it. And you could still do your Grand Prix. You could still do all your usual Mario stuff, but it just looks really good. I mean, you could tell this is above 1080. Like you could see the jagged ends. Like Mario Kart 8 looks beautiful, but you could tell it's a Switch game. It's got 1080p. You could tell that it's got jagged edges. This game is very clean. Now, I don't know if it's using DLSS. I don't think it is. Digital Foundry seemed to think that it was running at 1440 60. I don't know if that's like a performance mode and then there's a 4K 30. I don't know if that's incorrect. I don't know. Like I said, Digital Foundry, I trust them. They know what they're doing. They know they're very like well regarded. But it just like look at that. It just looks good. I mean, now they're talking about the voice chat, which is a really cool feature, but it's just you could tell it looks way better. Another game was Metroid Prime 4. Now, I played a little bit, I believe, of the first Metroid Prime. I beat Metroid Prime 3 Corruption on the Wii and I loved it. So I like Metroid. Samus is one of my favorite characters in Smash Brothers. But Metroid Prime 4, the footage they've showed on just the regular Switch looks insane. Like I'm sure it's 1080p, maybe they can get 60 out of it. I don't know. Like I said, is maybe it's 1080p 30, but they're having a Switch 2 upgrade, and it's 4K 60 quality mode, 1080p 120 performance mode. That's nuts. Like, there's not that many games that are pushing 4K 60 that I could think of on current gen consoles, Series X, PlayStation 5. Usually, when you go with like a performance mode, you're usually looking at 60 frames, 1440, 1080 in some cases. But yeah, this is okay. And like I said, you might look at it and be like, okay, Metroid Prime 4 looks good, but it doesn't look as good as I don't know Horizon Forbidden West. I don't even know if that's. I think there's a 60 frames mode that's like 1800p or something, but that might be quality. Regardless, I'm rambling. So, but for Nintendo, that's freaking cool. Like I don't want anything else from Nintendo. And the bottom line is too is it's just I feel like their games are now starting to push that boundary where Nintendo's like they're listening to fans and they want their system to be more powerful. If we're going to have a Switch 2 for 8 more years, 7 8 more years, it's going to have to run 4K. And I'm glad that they decided on that. Now a couple other games, Donkey Kong, they announced a new DK. The first one, I believe, the first 3D Donkey Kong since um, Donkey Kong 64. And I love Donkey Kong 64. I could still quote or sing a lot of the song. He's the leader of the bunch. You know him well. He's finally back to kick some tail. Okay, I don't want to sing for you guys forever here. But yeah, anyways, DK looks very good. I heard it's from the same people that do 3D Mario. A lot of people were expecting a 3D Mario. I thought there's a good chance at DK. They hinted a lot that DK was going to get maybe his own game. But yeah, that looks really good too. Then they announced a few Switch titles that are gonna get Switch 2 upgrades. Obviously Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom are supposed to get upgrades. Where I heard that if you have Nintendo Switch Online, both of those are free. Otherwise, I'm not sure in the pricing. I feel like there's a lot of misinformation or different varying degrees of information out on this system. I mean, there was the $90 physical rumor that people are still bringing up all over the place, and it's been thoroughly debunked. It's $70. Oh, Mario Kart World, I should say, is $70 digitally, $80 physical for US dollars. And people are still saying it's 90. Now we'll get to whether or not 80 I think is a good price or anything, but there's just a lot of information out there. I've heard $30 for upgrades, I've heard $10, I've heard 15. I don't know. I don't think we're gonna know until like more information set. But what's really cool is yeah, Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, which are already two of the best looking games on the system, are getting upgrades with higher resolution, 60 frames. Um and yeah, so that's happening. Then there are other games like Pokemon Legends ZA. That's getting a Switch 2 port with higher resolution and higher FPS. So that looks a lot. You can tell that looks a lot more clean. Game Freak, say what you want about their visuals, they don't push technical boundaries, but at least this looks clean and crisp. Unlike Scarlet Violet, which is getting a performance update, a free performance update. They did announce titles like that too. Like I believe Link's Awakening is. I can't remember the new one. The one with where you play as Zelda. That's kind of looks like Link's Awakening. I'm sorry if Zelda fans. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but that's getting a free update too. Scarlet and Violet is. We'll see if that actually runs. But yeah, there's a handful of games you could find it, and if you Google it or look on Nintendo's website, but they're getting it too, where it's they're free updates where it should run better. I don't know if they're visual updates too, but I know they're at least supposed to run better and have better like FPS and stuff and more stable. Oh, Odyssey is. I saw Super Mario 3D World and that. Oh no, I did see Odyssey there too. But yeah, Odyssey's one of them too that are getting this. Now, going back to the ones that are for sure getting a Switch 2 full upgrade, the one that I'm really excited about is so there's the two Zeldas, Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild. There's a Mario Party Jamboree is getting one, and Kirby and the Forgotten Land. I love Kirby. I've never played Forgotten Lands. I played the demo, loved the demo. I wanted to get it soon, but I'm holding off to the Switch 2 release because what's cool about that is not only is that one getting, and all of this accounts for all their games too. They're adding features to this too, so it's kind of like in some ways, yeah, it sucks that they're charging some people if you don't have Nintendo Switch, minus Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, but at least they're kind of offsetting it to a degree with allowing getting more information, like getting more like information is not the right word, but adding more to it. Like Kirby and Forgotten Lands, they're adding a single player like expansion. I forget what it's called. They're adding that, so now it's a Switch 2 thing where it's you add that and it's improved visuals and I believe 60 frames per second. My hope is 4K 60. I don't know exactly what it's going to be, but it's updated. Now, other games that they announced that were third party that look great, Yakuza 0 Director's Cut. If you've never played Yakuza before, you need to play this game. I promise you. It is probably the best story ever devised in a game. Yakuza 0 is a masterpiece. It is the, I don't know, great wonder of the Yakuza franchise. I didn't enjoy Infinite Wealth. I'm sorry if you did like that. But I played every single Yakuza game I've played. And Yakuza 0 stands to the test of time as the best game I've ever played in that series. And they're announcing a 4K, I heard it was 4K 60 today, version of Yakuza 0 with added scenes. Phenomenal. You need to play that. You need to pick it up. If you're getting a Switch 2, get that game, play it, you'll thank me later. You can come back and comment. You could, if you hate it, you can say, dude, you lie. You suck. I don't care, but I don't think you're going to. But anyways, before I talk, just go on a tangent about that. Elden Ring Tarnished Edition was coming there. It comes with Shadow of the Erdtree, and it comes with extra armors and stuff too. And it's at that Switch. That looks really good. Cyberpunk 2077. It's coming with an Ultimate Edition with Phantom Liberty. That's there. That's got a performance mode of 40 frames per second. I don't know the resolution. I don't think CD Projekt Red said. And it's got a quality mode of 30 frames per second. That's really cool. Hitman and IO Interactive's new 007 James Bond game is coming. I am so hyped. IO Interactive. If you have never played Hitman, play Hitman. Hitman and Yakuza. If there's anything you get out of this, Hitman and Yakuza 0. Play those games. But yeah, perfect developer. I feel like I'm gonna miss one, but another one that came to mind that got me initially excited, but now I'm not really that excited is FromSoft announced a Switch 2 exclusive, The Duskbloods. That's it. It looks like Bloodborne 2. That's the best way to describe it. It's like Bloodborne 2, and it's a Switch 2 exclusive. Looks really cool, dark, gothic, gritty, like Elden Ring meets Bloodborne, and it's PvPvE online, and I'm like, why? Why? Why do this to me? Why do you do this to me? But this game that's showing now, this is something that's going on my dumbest decision, but we'll get to that. So yeah, those are the games that were really exciting. What I'm genuinely shocked wasn't there was they didn't say anything about Animal Crossing. New Horizons has been basically abandoned since late 2021. Not one mention of it. Not a Switch 2 upgrade. Not a free upgrade. Not a here's a new update. Here's a new game. Nothing. And it's sold 47 million copies. It's their second highest selling game and nothing. So that tells me, and this is me skeptical, it's either, I don't think Nintendo's going to abandon this series. There's no way. New Horizons blew up. But Nintendo, I think, are really going to work on this game, and it's getting closer to being announced, and it's going to come out probably sooner than later, and that's why there's nothing said about it now. Now, they did mention that there's going to be directs in the, throughout the year with more games and stuff too. So it could still happen. It just wasn't announced with this reveal trailer, which if you're going to announce anything, I feel like that would have been it, but it's okay. But this game, this is the Nintendo Switch Welcome Tour. No, Nintendo. It's, if you have a system and it's got mouse functionality, I didn't talk about that earlier, but mouse functionality, that's been confirmed. And it's got all these other things. It's got really good, like Rumble. It's got good audio. It's got all this, it's like a gimmick console. And Nintendo's been known to use their gimmicks. I'll give them that. You do not have a tech demo for your system not included for free. It's a paid game. Nobody's gonna buy that. No, that's, to me, that's the dumbest decision this entire direct. Now, to get to the kind of things, now let's fast forward all the way down. Now we're going to get to the meat and potatoes of this video, why we need to talk about the Switch 2. Nintendo, so they come out with banger after banger after banger after banger. And they end their direct. It's available June 5th to give you a release date, but there's no pre-order information. And there's no pricing. Why? Like, if you're not going to do pre-order, why not pricing? People want to know, okay, these games look good, the system looks good, okay, what is your damn pricing? So it comes out later that their pricing is $449. This is US dollars for just a Switch, $449, so $450. And then a Mario Kart World bundle for $500. Some people were upset about that. I personally expected 400. So this was above what I expected, but I also expected a weaker console than what they ended up delivering. So to me I think 450 is actually a very fair price point in this day and age with inflation, and times are tough. I get it. I get it. Times are tough, but for 4K, to me, I'll defend Nintendo on the price of the console, because you're getting a hybrid console capable of 4K 60 docked, 1080, and plus you can move it on the go, 1080p 120. So you basically are getting a 4K console and a Steam Deck for $450. I think that's pretty good pricing, personally. PlayStation 5 and Xbox were $500 at launch. Yes, they're more powerful, but they still are outputting 4K. So you're still getting a 4K console. So yeah, it's weaker, but you're still getting a beefy console, but you're not getting a handheld along with that on Xbox and PlayStation. And it's only $50, it's $50 less. I don't think that's a bad price. Now, the thing that everybody's flailing their arms about, and they're free to do that, I get it. I don't fully agree with them, but I said earlier, the rumor was that Nintendo Switch games would be $80 digital, $90 physical. That's a lie. Mario Kart World is the only one where it's $70 digital, $80 physical. $80 is kind of a new high now. That's like the brand new bar that's been set. Nintendo's setting it. And a lot of people are losing their minds. I feel like the Joker. We're just losing their minds, which I get it. $80 is steep. I really do. Now, I've seen Nintendo on Best Buy. You can go to bestbuy.com, Walmart. You could look at these retailers. They're starting to list these games. Some of them list for $40, some list for $60. Donkey Kong $70 physical. Mario Kart World's $80. So it sounds like the high is going to be Nintendo big first-party titles could be up to $80 physical. On the low end, they might be $70, they might be $60 still. I'm not 100% certain how it's going to work, but people are really outraged with that, which in this day and age, I get it. You know what? Inflation sucks. The money's harder to save right now. Hopefully things get better soon. We could always hope. I don't necessarily see it in as negative of a light as other people. Call me a Switch, fanboy, call me whatever you want, saying I'm defending corporate greed. Maybe I am. I don't know. The fact is, I'm just saying it how I am. I have an opinion just like you have an opinion. If you disagree with everything I say and say, look at this, you're a piece of crap, I don't care. You can tell me I'm a piece of crap. I don't care. I have my opinion. You have your opinion. The reason why is, you could look at it a few different ways. $70 adjusted for in 2020, adjusted for inflation now is about $86. Take that for what it's worth. And to me, I expected an increase eventually, because you can't expect inflation to be bad and then games to stay at the same price for 10-15 years. There was gonna be it back in the day. I do know that Nintendo 64 games and stuff like that, they were all really expensive. And I also heard cartridges cost more, so that might have something to do with it. Some people are talking about tariffs. I'm not going to get into politics. I don't know enough about tariffs. I don't claim to know enough about tariffs. All I know is that the games are 90 euros in Europe. The point is that games were set at $70 this gen. Now Nintendo's pushing that up to 80. So now people are worried that all the corporations are going to jump up to $80. They probably will. I'm not going to deny that. I'm going to be completely honest. They probably will. People are talking about, oh, now Rockstar's licking their chops. Rockstar doesn't care about Nintendo. They don't have an affiliation with Nintendo. GTA is so damn big that Rockstar were going to come out with whatever price they wanted. Rockstar, they could come out and say, we're going to sell GTA 6 for $90. They were going to do that long before Nintendo decided to add $80. Now, that being said, it is steep. I get it. You know what? If that turns you off, if the pricing turns you off, I get it. It doesn't turn me off because I understand where they're coming from, and I feel like Nintendo's exclusives are best in the industry. Now, you could disagree with me. That's your opinion too. Look at the ratings on OpenCritic, Metacritic. People love their games. They are constantly putting out banger after banger. So I get it. I get it. Do I think Mario Kart 8 is, or Mario Kart World is worth $80 physically? For me, yes. I love Mario Kart. I'll play it. My wife's going to play it. We're going to play together. She's going to whoop my ass, but we're both going to enjoy it. And I think that that's, you get your enjoyment out of it. At least if you get your physical game, you have it, you pay one time $80. It's steep, hard economy, but inflation sucks. And it's kind of coming with inflation. And if that's too steep for you, I get it. You could hold off on the system or wait for, the system to go down in price. Wait till maybe you're in a better financial position. You guys people need to do what they need to do in order to get by. You make the right decisions. If you have a family, you got to be like, okay, you know what? I don't have the money for this. This is not a necessity. This system is a want. I want it. I don't need it. My wife wants it. We don't need it. But we're going to budget it in and we're going to get it and we're going to sit there and do it because Nintendo mean a lot and we're very excited and we like what Nintendo showed off. So ultimately I get, Elden Ring looks awesome. But I ultimately I get you guys. I get people who are, reaching out saying, hey, this is ridiculous. Your prices should not be, this expensive. Prices should still be $60, $70. I wish things were cheaper, but the price increase is not going to stop me from enjoying this console. And I'm going to make it work. My wife and I are going to make it work, and we're saving for a house, so we get it too. If you need to be a little bit better with games and choosier with games, and you not buying it, all the time, at day one. Oh yeah, Hades 2 is coming out. I missed that one. That looks awesome. But I keep jumping off track because I'm watching this as I'm talking. So yeah, if you need to budget a little bit more, yes, I know it would be fun to buy every single game day one. Having games at 40, 50, 60 bucks. Unfortunately, in this day and age, it's probably a smart thing to be more choosy. Get a game 1 month, wait another month or two, get another game if you want to. You guys need to do what's best for you. I personally, I'm gonna buy Nintendo. I'm gonna, probably always buy Nintendo. I really like their products. I find value. $80, honestly, I would probably pay more for Mario Kart World for Nintendo exclusives. Maybe I'm crazy to you. So be it. If you're a Sony fanboy or fangirl and you're a huge God of War fan, if a new God of War came out and that was $90, ultimately, I feel like a lot of people would still eat that. They might not like it, but I love gaming too much to just give up on a hobby. And now maybe if I buy Switch 2, maybe that means I hold off more on PlayStation games, or I don't buy a next gen Xbox, or you kind of like offset it in different ways. I understand it from both ends. I understand it from a consumer end. I'm middle class. I'm not rich. I get it. It's hard to justify spending $80 at times for a game. But in the grand scheme of things, I do understand from Nintendo's point of view is they probably need to adjust for inflation. Maybe Mario Kart World is $80 because they're selling it for $50 in the Switch bundle. Kind of greedy, but I do to a degree understand why they're doing that. Comment down below whether or not you agree, disagree. Just be respectful to each other. This is a great country. You know, we're free to discuss opinions, have different opinions. Honestly, everyone, I just wanted to jump on here. I wanted to make a quick video. I wanted to give you my thoughts on it. I'm so excited for the system personally. I'm just excited for the games. I'm excited for the console. This console is everything that I wanted it to be. I'm excited for, you know, future games to be patched. I'm excited for, you know, just what's to come in this next generation. I love gaming. I'm always going to be a gamer. It's in my blood. Gaming is my hobby and my passion, and I love it, and my wife loves it, and I love my wife. And in the end, there's nothing better than gaming with the ones that you love. So, in that case, like I said, if you disliked what I had to say, please do me a huge favor. Throw down a like, throw down a comment, and you know what? We'll go on this journey together. We'll talk about games till we're buried 6 feet under. You know what? Gaming is the best. But I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of your day, rest of your week. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.